Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And me and Rude are very lucky here today because to anyone in the chat, I sadly don't speak French. I chose to learn Chinese in my gymnasium, so I can't explain this to you guys. But if I were to put it simply, wow, no play for long time. Pause big. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know if that works. But my main
Yeah,
point
I
is
don't know if that's...
we won't be seeing Nord for a while.
Yeah, so to give context to those of you who are still flooding in, we haven't yet finished Unique versus Riddle. That game is still paused. We're waiting for that game to be unpaused. We're no closer to knowing when we're going to be unpaused as well. To give full transparency, we are still waiting on any tech updates or issues on that, but we put the 3-minute timer on, and me and Duckling are here to entertain, so we're just going to do our best podcast style vamp session that we've ever done, and then we'll go back into the game, and we'll all of a sudden have to remember where we were in that game as well. But yeah, that's the state of things. Sometimes we've got to do the content on camera.
Yeah, you know, do you know the song that the French guys produced when they won the World Cup in 2018? You know, the A Little Bit?
No, not that one.
It's actually a banger. I don't speak French, but it's really good. And
Okay.
I said that I was going to be the bearer of bad news, but I have just been yelled in the ear by my producer that we will have the game back in 1 minute. Yet again, it's TV time. It could be 1, it could be 20, but it's a good sign.
What they thought, all that's happened there is our producer thought that there was a chance Duckling was going to keep singing, and they went, okay, I don't care what happens, we have to play this game, like, immediately. It needs to be played now. This is of the utmost importance. If Duckling starts singing, then the viewership tanks, and we are absolutely gone.
We're actually back in the game. I am surprised. So, yet again, to all those coming to watch Nord Esports, the game with Riddle and Unique is not done. When this game is done, we will have break-intos, and then we will be watching Nord Esports play. But for now, Riddle will just barrel down towards the base of Unique as they are 11-0 on the kill board, 6,000 gold lead, and they are in control.
Reminder, they've taken this mid lane inhibitor. I really like this style of approach to closing out the game now. They've got 3.5 minutes before the next Drake spawns. They are unfortunately out of a Baron timer. So they've broken open the base with this one. They may have to delay another few minutes to get another Baron to close out this game. Syndra wave clear against non-Baroned up minions actually is fairly potent, so it makes it fairly difficult to step up to these turrets. But thus far, with a mid lane inhibitor down, it does give for a really good map play to be played for Riddle. They can go to the side lanes really easily, have those super minions in the mid lane, act as that 6th member of the team, and force a pushing lane that somebody has to answer to on Unique. And they have spotted out a high note. Yep, they did. And that was, I think, 3 skills.
They killed him.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was, I think, 3 skills total.
Though. Yeah, that is very, very tough to come back from. Pedersen had much time to react as he was unable to use any of his summoners. The base is now broken open, has been for quite a while. Reptile is still just power farming. They have 3 Chemtech Drakes in their pocket. Could wait 2.5 minutes to get the soul, but Riddle don't even need to, I feel like. They could just force one fight on the game, right?
Yeah, the issue that if there's a fight to be had, it's on Unique to give it to them, right? I think that right now the Unique turtle strategy is fairly strong. They're just sitting within the walls of their base, and Pedersen found out firsthand that if he leaves the base, there's bad things that are waiting for them. And obviously going down there, not the worst situation. There were no objectives to be particularly fought for as a 5-man unit, but that little bit of extra gold is always going to feel nice for Riddle. You can see them playing very nicely around these side lanes as well. They'd pushed in every side lane and let mid do its work. They've also taken 4 resets at the same time. Got to shout out Fire Rain for desyncing his recall here and putting the team a little bit off speed. But with 4 people going back to base at the same time, it's largely synchronized. And as this 4 anyway, they can pretty much act as a 5-man because they are so strong anyway.
Yeah, let's see what Johan will do here to Antwer. And just a reminder, Antwer is building tank, by the way. If you're wondering how his HP bar is deleting so quickly, well, that's because Johan is very fed as he is forced to flash away from that chain of the corruptions. 30 seconds of the Baron if they want that. Are Riddle just trying to annoy the entirety of fans by delaying this game, or are they actually just waiting for the Baron here?
Yeah, like I say, I think they just have to wait for the Baron. Wave clearing versus Varus Syndra is, or as Varus Syndra, is a little too easy if you don't have the Baron, so we're just waiting for that big purple worm to get taken down, and then you can move potentially into the Drake Soul as well. They've got a fair few options, but the game is fairly plug and play right now. Should be easy for them to find an objective and then take a win from it. You need to keep your eyes, though,
now,
on Nihu. He's got Mega Building.
On-Horn Core, they found Cyrex, and they will absolutely delete him. Was there any doubt after the first 11 kills come through that this would be what we would be watching a couple minutes later? An absolute bloodbath as Riddle find 4, and this will surely close out the game.
Yeah, mid isn't pushed in. They're going to head to the top lane instead. They'll have to hit down 1 extra turret, but that is none of their concern. They'll quite happily batter down the hatches and send themselves to a 3-0 start for Riddle, putting Unique down to that 0-3 metric. All 5 members do eventually fall. Peterson finding the rough end of the 1v1 stick up against Fire Rain, and now it's Riddle doing their victory lap.
This is their victory lap. Peterson was killed in the bot lane by Fire Rain. He wasn't able to even get back and try and desperately defend that base, and it took 35 minutes. But they didn't die a single time as Riddle will move themselves up to a 3-0 scoreline.
Perfect game in terms of kills. They did lose out on 5 turrets on the map, so, you know, there's a little bit to be worked on there, but, I mean, not dying once for anybody is a very good start for Riddle to be going toward their perfect game, ending out that one. Pretty much as expected. Obviously, a little bit of a desynchronization on our end on the pauses makes it maybe a little less overwhelming, but nevertheless, they start out 3-0, and they are in a very good position in the league.
So, we will have one winner's interview before we throw it to a small break, and then we get ready for the next game. But until then, Rude, I have given you one simple task, or simple and simple. I don't know if it is that actually, because considering a lot of people on Riddle played well, but who is your MVP of this game?
I mean, I don't know that this is going to be a shock particularly, but Johan was where he needed to be at all times. Johan gets MVP for me. That's pretty simple on my end. I do think that this Wukong looked very, very scary. He got B1 prio in the draft and made the most of it as well. Can't really, you know, complain on in any capacity about the role that he played. Early game had 100% kill participation, then ended up getting Kiba as a little pet that he was able to take around the rift, and that enabled him even more. So it went really well for him. The whole game just was on his shoulders, and he carried the weight of it like an absolute champion.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal game from Riddle, who have silenced all doubts I had about Johan and Fire Rain in terms of what is their level. They have answered and said, our level is very high, and you know, I can take that response and put them at the top of my tier list because they look phenomenal. If there is one team that might stop them, it could be not. We will find out when we get to that game, of course. And now that we have all the French people here, I do want to say, I'm sorry you guys lost in handball. Denmark is best. I just had to get that out there. I needed to tell it to him. They beat us at the World Cup, and I was very salty.
Do you think anybody cares about handball? Do you think anyone cares?
No, no one cares about handball. That's the thing. Why do you think Denmark is good at it? We're good at things no one care about.
I see. You've offended maybe 2 people of the French audience.
Yeah, I don't think any of the French audience knows they play handball. That's the thing. No one cares except for Denmark. And we don't really care. We just care because we're good at it.
Yeah, exactly. Anything to flex.
Waiting for the winner's interview. Yeah, anything to flex. I don't care what I'm bragging about, as long as it's about Denmark being good. I couldn't really care less. Regardless, though, I will say that we are still waiting for the winner's interview. Then we will go into a short break, and then we will be broadcasting Nord versus Domino to anyone wondering. I am yet to be informed who the winner's interview will be out, but I'm very excited. Root, give me some of your comments on this game. What are the positives from Unique to take away from this?
I do. So positives, they got 5 turrets. I don't think that in a few of their games gone back last week, they got quite as many. They certainly looked a lot more proactive on the map, and they were actually, you know, looking for proactive plays. I will say they had a good time of things, making moves down to that bot side. There was an instance where we got to see Paul shove in mid lane, go down with Antwerp, try and make a play on the bot side. Yes, it was matched by TP, and it didn't end up yielding any kills, but still those types of progressive map movements are what you want to see from a side. Maybe a shoring up of the execution is what would have led to them getting a kill down there. But overall, I do think they had some strong positives, and obviously the positive that they get to take away is that they don't have to play either of the 3 teams that they've played until the second round robin. And they've got a little bit of time before that happens, so they should be good to have a couple of weeks of not the best teams in the league that they're playing against.
I think it'll be very nice just to get that break and not have to play against the top of the top. And I'm very excited to see how they will match up against the other teams who at the moment are yet to pick up a win, in the likes of Domino and Natives in particular, to see how they stack up, as Natives as well have shown some positives in terms of almost taking a game of Burton. It was all down to those parents, so those games to me will be very exciting. But for Riddle, do you have anything negative to say about this team? Because we have so many positive things that we've been hitting on. Is there anything you feel like they still could improve?
You know, that's a great question.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
hard to say.
here's the answer. And maybe they know much better than me, but we didn't ban Rise or pick Rise. There's my flame.
Okay, I mean, we'll find out because we do have Pandaris for an interview. 3-0, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on, Pandaris. Obviously, I've watched you all the way through Telia Liga and the Norwegian scene. Now you're here. Last time it was on the Ricky. You almost made it playoffs, fell just barely short. Now, though, you're on Riddle. 3-0, you guys are looking absolutely fantastic. How does it feel to be on a team that it just seems to flow perfectly?
I mean, maybe that's what it looks like from the outside perspective. It feels really nice to be in a team with people as motivated to achieve good things, you know. And that's the main reason why I wanted to join this team. Like, of course, it's good as well, but the team is literally just filled with individuals who want to improve and do good. So it feels really good.
Yeah, great. And you know, you say from the outset, it looks like you guys are going really smoothly. Is there anything behind? Obviously, don't like go leaking, but is there anything behind the scenes that you're like, oh, you know, this has been a little bit of an issue, a sticking point, or anything like that, or is it actually just smooth sailing on both fronts?
No, I just worded that really badly, so it seemed worse than it was. I mean, it's like
No, that's okay.
we always have things to improve on, right? So that's like what I meant with it, you know. Like, there's always things we can improve on, and we're not really satisfied unless we do like to the best of our abilities, right? So if there's something we did bad that we have learned, then we're not like fully satisfied. And of course, we're happy with the result, but not necessarily as happy about the process.
No, of course. If there's always room for improvement, you want to be, you know, to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? That's sort of mentality going forward.
Yeah.
I want to ask a little bit more about your game specifically here. Obviously, relegated to own duty. Is that something that you're happy to take the mantle of in these types of matches, or would you tend to prefer something with a bit more free reign in the laning phase?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking that. Like, I think anyone on the team is like all of us are selfless in that sense. Like, no one is no one don't want to play like a sacrificial role, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. It's really like we needed engage, right? Like we had some engage, but like we need a more reliable engage, right? They wanted to draft the front to back. One was looking good, and we went with it, right? Like, yeah, that's one of the benefits of having a team which can play pretty much anything. Is that you're able to draft like this, and coaches can do their work, you know, and make this kind of draft that just on paper are better.
So, Pandaris, I have just one last question here. Which team, you know, you've played against already now, but there are some other pretty strong teams in the league as well. Which team are you most looking forward to face and think will give you the most competition here in the split?
Nord. I mean, think without a question, Nord. Really looking forward to playing versus WoW and testing him a bit. I don't think he's gotten tested really yet, so we'll see how he handles up. It's gonna be a banger match. Like, it's fun seeing like all the French fans like doubling or almost tripling like the viewers. So I think it's gonna be a lot of eyes on the match, and I can't wait to show more people that's what we're able to do, right?
Yeah, I think that's for sure gonna happen, and I'm very excited to see you two get off against each other when that match will begin. Thank you so much, Pandora, for taking your time to come here after your win and chatting with us here on the NLC. And best of luck moving on with the rest of the split. And with that, Rude, it is back to you and me, but just for a couple seconds because we're gonna throw it instantly into a break because I cannot wait to get started with Nord versus Domino, which is coming up right after this short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NLC. It is time. What else could it be, Rude? It is that time of the day. It is Nord about to play against Domino. And by the way, guys, Domino is still yet to find their first win.
Yeah, another one of those 2-0 versus 0-2 matchups coming in for game number 2. Obviously, it was won by the 2-0 team last game. Expectation is that Nord will be able to find themselves a win and set themselves up for a 3-0 start to the split as well. Up against, as you mentioned, a Domino roster who have certainly struggled so far through the early stages of this season, but not without their own bright spots either. Obviously, they built this roster from Domino around Shaolin. He's the one returning piece from the Division 2 side that played last season in 2022 summer. Obviously, they've also got a little bit more proactivity I want to mention as well. When I'm looking at this matchup specifically, I look at the support role. Snabi has been playing some League of Legends has certainly appeared in lanes that I wasn't expecting him to appear in, on windows that are a bit abstract, if we put it about that. And they've obviously got Fyumpun up on the top side as well, the rename of Flaxis, formerly the LEC player, or EULCS it might even have been at that time.
Yeah,
so not a team without their precedence.
So Nord Esports, the new big organization, big names who have done well at the Amazon European Master, played at the LEC level as well, going up against the heavy underdog here in Domino. But to quickly see what has happened in the draft so far, the bans are coming through thick and fast, and I'm sorry to all you WoW fans, you won't be watching any Jacks today.
No WoW Jax, no Rise, no Maokai. Those are the two picks. Me and Duckling at the top of the day before we went on air said. Duckling goes, Rude, have you got any picks you don't want to see or that are like super powerful for me to judge as reference points? I go Maokai and Rise. And Nord, we're on the same wavelength. Don't you worry about it. We are in tune. Those bans away on the blue side. And it's a double up. They've got rid of the Olaf as well now. The Jax and Olaf taken away by Domino. Just take away every champion that WoW has ever played, it looks like.
Maybe the Darius comes in here next then to really target this guy out. Regardless though, I mean, I don't know if this is 100% true, but WoW is going up against, you know, LEC level player now, so maybe that's the first time that's happening in his career. At the very least, it will be fun to watch, but he will not be target banned fully. The Darius is still intact as it is the Akali being banned away by the side of Domino.
And now we get to see what Nord's first pick priority is, if it's going to be that Wukong again, or if they want to go for something a bit more. Last game, there were a lot of jungle bans. This game, things like the Sejuani are also open, so we could see Akabana default something a bit more comfortable. Alternatively, the Vi, there we go. This was one of the Akabane specials, really, from the LFL in spring or in summer 2022. When this pick got a lot more popularized, it also dissuades Lari from going for a hyper carry, something like the Sivir, like the Zeri, because you have that point and click lockdown. I see this Yuumi being hovered, and maybe Domino is going to bite the bullet and take it anyway.
So that is the Yuumi, that is the Wukong as well. Maybe Domino just watched Riddle win that game with that combo in particular. Regardless, it has now been locked in. Not hovering the listen obviously won't go that choice because the Vi has already been locked in here for the side of Nord Esports as what really could be the pick here.
I'm looking to see if we go for an age-old spring throwback, if we just get Yuumi, Lulu traded, and then a hyper carry on both sides. Looks like that's going to be the case here. The question now becomes, what AD carries do people want to go for? We have Sivir Zeri as the typical trade-off, but you have got a few more options. Things like the Jinx are still open, so there's a lot of hyper carries still up for grabs. They could also go for a solo laner if they're feeling that emboldened by the fact that they, you know, can kind of get their pick of AD carry. You know, there's a lot of options still.
And as we do see the Nord bot lane now completed, it's the Sivir Lulu going down towards that bot lane. So a very safe lane to say the least. Very good at scaling, okay, of course. Now eyes on Domino. Yeah, go on.
We have to test your AD carry knowledge. What is getting picked by Domino here?
I really hate that you're doing this to me. I really do hate it.
This one's easy.
Yeah,
the ADC traits. Okay,
it's Seri. Look, my school has banned Twitch. I can't watch LCK in class anymore, okay? That's the problem.
This is not LCK, this is 2022. I'm disappointed. You deserve to be exposed for that. This is Sivir Zeri Lulu meta. Let's go. Get hyped. It's lots of fun.
I love
Hyper
carry meta. So many pinch kills all around. Woo, it's so fun. I really can't believe you did this to me. Regardless, though, I am very excited to see it on Larry, someone who I will talk more about later because I'm very excited to see what this guy can bring. And with WoW not getting his pick locked in the first rotation, it makes sense for Domino to go, no, we will not accept that Darius, and they will ban it away.
I mean, expectation here is that we just see Domino take their mid laner on force so that they do have a counter pick for this all singing or dancing French top laner, because they want to, you know, shut down WoW as best as possible. He has been the focal point or the leading reason as to why we're seeing Nord at 2-0 thus far. It's, you know, not unprecedented to want to have a good matchup for Fjordbone on that top side. So I'm looking at what their mid lane blind is going to be. They've put no bans towards it in this second phase. Really are just setting up for making WoW as uncomfortable as possible.
Let's see if they will add one more to that pool. It is the J, so most certainly they have 4 out of 5 picks banned towards WoW up in their top lane.
I really hope they take top lane now, honestly. They put no bans toward mid lane, and I really just want to see them take their top side or take their top laner blind here, because they could have spent these bans, you know, a lot more wisely on safer on mid laners. Unless they're too scared and they're setting up for their 5th pick for top, I don't know. Okay, it's good. Yeah, so they take top here. It is expected with those bans coming on through. Now we get to see what WoW fancies into Anar. The Camille still open, Aatrox as well. Okay, a couple of options that we can see are available.
Let's see what happens here. I'm excited. A lot of the top lane champs have been banned away. We know WoW doesn't really play the tank. It's not like he's gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna go on then. No, he won't, and he will up towards the Aatrox in the end. So that's the Aatrox versus Nord matchup. Now onto the mid lane though. Let's see what Nord have hidden up their sleeve.
Yeah, Fury, I mean, in previous times has gone towards an Ahri. Syndra is still open as well as a blind pick to take into the mid lane. Both very dominant and can control the lane and allow for Akabane to go for some invades or at least establish priority through the mid lane. And I'm looking for what the answer for Domino is going to be to round out their composition. The Azir comes through, so we're now opening up something like a Corki or a Victor as an answer if we want to get one of those amazing trades as well. But the composition of Domino goes forward really well. They just need a bit more AP damage to really bolster out their composition, and I think that both of these squads thus far have built up some really good death balls.
So eyes on the last pick. We have seen the Syndra once today. We will see it again, this time in the hands of Shaolin. The Domino mainstay, it seems. He will get that locked in. So Sari, Yumi on one side on the bot lane, Lulu, Sivir on the other. But I want to talk about the top lane matchup. Not the players, but the champions themselves. How does this stack up?
I mean, the Nor is classed as a range champion in the early stages, but if you ask any top laner, to like it, I remember speaking to a top lane friend of mine, and he said, if you tell me that Nara is a range champion, yes, he has 425 range in mini, but he plays like a melee because things like Aatrox Q are pretty much always in range of his auto attacks. Q1 of the Aatrox is level with a Nara auto attack. If you can land that, it then means that Q2 you can space for, and then 3 as well. It very rapidly becomes difficult for a Nara sometimes to keep spacing on an Aatrox if they get caught out by one of those little knockups. So that hop is a very powerful cooldown, and it is going to be a little bit more execution oriented than at first glance. Obviously, there is that little element of the range versus melee. If WoW is missing out on Qs, and if we see Bunt really space efficiently, Nor can run around an Aatrox quite easily. If you get those hyper procs, we get to a little bit of a later game stage where you're getting a little bit of attack speed from a Trinity Force. You get the hyper proc movement speed. It can be very difficult for the Aatrox to navigate. So I am quite looking forward to how the top lane execution pans out, because we could end up just seeing it be a player diff.
I mean, there is a chance that this game just, as you say, come down to the player diff. But if you're talking a bit more about the players and how they've shown so far, what do you think the chances are of us being able to get into a late game state where it really comes down to actually Larry up against Tulan in terms of the hyper carry ADCs to really take over the game?
It's difficult to put that pressure on both of them because everybody in this game has a carry role, right? We don't have a true tank. We've got Aatrox versus Gnar, who are both going to be looking to one-shot ADCs, essentially. We've got the Wukong versus Vi. Again, similar sort of situation. They're going to be looking to make life miserable for AD carries. We've got control mages in the mid lane who are going to be also at threat from those topside champs. So I think that dialing it down to just the AD carries, unless the game dictates that it's about them, will actually be fairly difficult. And you have to keep your eyes on the map as a whole before we can sort of dial in on how late game focused the ADCs are.
I'm really biting into the fact that you mentioned Vi there, because that reminds me, Akabane is in this game. Someone who I got so impressed with when I watched him at the Emerson European Masters, playing all the way through to, I think, the semi-final they made. He was constantly playing aggro, playing the aggressive picks, and especially in the play-ins, he dominated every single jungler he played against. And I'm super excited to see back on the bye, which he also did play at the European Masters summer play-ins. I'm excited to see if he can bring that same level of dominance now on a different organization.
Was paired up with Checo Lad, obviously, last split, and I think that Checo did a very good job at enabling Akabane just by winning all of his mid lanes. Fury, by no means a slouch in the mid lane, and I do think player to player will have the advantage over Shaolin as well, so wouldn't mind seeing that level of brawl come through from the mid laners. Little pause, as we did see a quick exchange on the top side. It's an advantage for Nord as they get a ward down on the red buff of Domino, but instantly traded back, and we see that Domino are able to get one down on the bot side on the Raptor camp.
As I will say, I'm about to do some little bit of investigation here, because if we're looking at Domino's jungler, that is Porcupine. That is not Flowing, who I have noted down in my notebook, and I looked this up on Leaguepedia earlier today, so I will have to do a little bit of Googling here, and then I'll get back to you, because has there been a substitution here, Rude?
I mean, there must have been, right? Like, there's either been a substitution or there's been a rebrand that we've not been made of. So we'll assume for now that Porcupine does not equal Flowing, and we'll continue under those assumptions quite happily. Do see Fjontborn on this top side having a bit of fun with Nord. Akabane going to be, I mean, 10% lower HP than he would have been had the Nord not been there, I guess, at this stage. But with Fleet Footwork on that top side as well, Fjontborn is really speccing into the laning phase, making sure that he can coax his way through the early game. And that WoW here, with the Conqueror, obviously a lot less of a laning-centric rune. You very infrequently are going to get up to the 12 stacks on an Aatrox in the laning phase versus an R. So Fjontborn has a really important job right now to put WoW down as much as possible.
And I have an update on Detective Duckling. I will say I have concluded the case. Porcupine has been subbed in. If you're wondering who is Porcupine, well, I can tell you he played with Domino in summer of 2022 for their NLC Division 2 roster, where he got 4th in the regular season and then 6th in the playoffs. So changes have been made as Domino clearly not happy going 0-2 in the first few games. Flowing has been flowing down the river and out to the bench.
And good to see we could end up seeing some more synergy between these two. Obviously, Porcupine Shaolin, part of the same roster in Division 2 last split, so hopefully they're able to work together. Both junglers skipping their bot side entirely. Look at mid lane though, Fury now in trouble.
It's just as you said, Porcupine will find Fury. He does have flash, but it can simply be followed. As here comes Akabane, those scatter the weak connects and first blood secured for Domino. As Akabane doesn't fancy his chances in the 1v2, will just take the wall with the help of Kasing.
Really good pathing from Porcupine right there. I think that both the junglers were looking for a bit of a skirmish. It just happened to be in different places. Akabane skipped his bot side to try and make something happen in the bot side jungle, and Fury had pushed in that wave to go and support his jungler, but unfortunately caught on the timing that Porcupine could be in that bot side river, ends up catching out the Azir, burning the flash of the bird as well, and he's going to be fairly susceptible to going down once again.
It might just be a first blood, but I am happy to see the start for Domino going up against the Nord team, which did look very good in week 1. Domino struggled a lot, unable really to find their footing, so it's a good beginning. Hopefully they can build on this and at the very least make this a close, tight game. But 1 kill on Porcupine, that has changed his pathing a bit. What does he do now? Where's his next move?
I think for now, he's got a couple options here. Because he spent that time ganking, he can either wait for the reset on his camps, full clear from bot to top, have changed his clear up so that he can maybe support Fjontborn a little bit, or we see him just go back to base, get that Sheen, get a longsword as well, and start to brawl out with that item advantage.
Fjontborn? I mean, he's getting a good trade here onto WoW, who's forced to now recall and will be expending that teleport very early on. Good trade here from the former EU LCS top laner. He's able to get the better of the up-and-coming talent. As we now zoom down towards the bot lane, I do want to take some time to talk about Larry, because when I looked at this roster, I instantly recognized that name, as he also fancies his chances in this 2v2. Couple summoners forced, heal from Kasing, exhaust from Snappy, and
tell me about Larry.
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk about Larry, but I do also want to see what Fury does here, because they could be under a lot of pressure, as the dive seems to be a real possibility, but they back away nicely. They will lose the XP though.
Really good scouting there. That communication between Shaolin and Larry, just making sure that they're at the very least aware that there's a potential for an Azir to be down there, and scouting out really well with the laser. Fury gets back to the mid lane, doesn't actually lose anything, but it does give a small window now for Shaolin to look for a roam. Maybe looks to just get a ward down. Couple options open to them. Looking though back toward these junglers who have already got those bases off, want to see Porcupine try and extend this lead. You've got first blood, you have a Sheen advantage over Akabane. Try and make a play with it.
Let's see if he will trade us on the map. That's at least something you could look to play around on, maybe even gain by a good play, but as nothing really seems to be happening, I am going to be brave enough to go back and try and talk about Larry for now the third time.
You do it.
And Larry, he is someone who I didn't know much about a couple of years ago, but when he, in the 2021 Winter Showdown with Leagues.gg, popped up on this weird Espargaro roster, no one really knew any of the players, no one expected anything, but they shocked the whole Danish scene, making it to the final against a star-studded Fling Elite roster, beating teams like Astralis Talent on the way. As Fury doesn't have the flash, Akabane hits him up, but won't be able to deal the damage. Now they might try and turn it back around. And as I am about to end out that Larry story, they did not in fact win that final. They got 3-0'd in a very, very tight series. Larry was a massive part of that miracle run from a team with 5 unknown players, making it all the way to the final of the Danish Winter Showdown in 2021.
And now making a rookie split debut, I suppose, on the NLC stage. Obviously not the greatest start, but not the worst either.
Yeah, that's a scoop of Porcupine. Very nice flash to get over the wall. As the Emperor's Divide unable to keep Porcupine on the safe side, he's able to get out. Will force the flash, of course, so still a win for the side of Nord.
And we were asking this Wukong to try and extend an advantage with that Sheen. Unfortunately, that has not quite happened. I was hoping actually for Porcupine to just clear up till 6. Level 6 Wukong, obviously, completely different theme. Fyungbon.
I mean, he feels very confident. He's unable to get the Nara into the wall, though. That means, wow, able to trade back here with the Q-stacks. Good damage. Third available, though. Won't go for the flash, and as that happens, Nord able to secure the first Drake, but very interesting trades up here in the top. They're both going blow for blow.
Yeah, remember, we're expecting Gnar to come out on top of this. Went for the fleet footwork, has opted into ninja tabbies as well. Very defensive build path, not allowing for WoW to really get anything in this laning phase. And gone for pure power with that 1100 gold. Finding even trades in this top side for WoW is a very good sign for him, but if Fyungbon can find that solo kill, opens up for more of an advantage to be generated. Look at the jungle though, Porcupine already moving his way toward that top side, potentially looking for Fury, going to be able to dash over that wall, and Kasing is here, knows that there's something on the map to be said with 8 minutes having broached the board. That Herald is going to be contested for, potentially WoW could be looking to get dove. There are a lot of things happening on the map and the supports need to be there for them.
Yeah, Wooler just now starting to rotate while Larry's actually running down to the bot lane again to catch the wave that Wooler just pushed into. That means no AD carries will be here. Shaolin level 7, that's a level advantage, but he gets locked up with the C's. And this is now though Kasing forced to flash away as well, finds himself in a bad situation. He's forced to flash as well, but Fyungbon will follow and secure the kill. Fight not fully over, Akabane still stepping up. Held down to 2k HP, Akabane. Ball breaker forward, not quite able to pop the eye as the smite secures it in the end for Nord. It's a 1-for-1, a kill for Domino, but the Herald to Nord.
And now what do Nord get to do with this? This is going to be that time bomb really going off. There's a Herald that is going to be placed somewhere, and the question is, where does it end up going? Woolite down on the spot side appears to have done a very good job on this bot lane turret as well. I know that Snobby has been a part of the Porcupine ecosystem as opposed to the Larry ecosystem and a little bit more throughout this game, so 2 plates being down there not necessarily unexpected. But you could really hammer home an advantage in this bot side if you want to pop another couple of plates onto Woolite. Obviously coming over from the LFL from last split, played on the Misfits Premier team, which had shaky starts, really strong mid-season, but then ultimately didn't end up making it as far as you would like for an LEC affiliated team. But moving over to the NLC is certainly one of our top prospects as an AD carry. You know, quite happily say the top 3 ADC for the region that we have. And up against Larry, as you mentioned, one of the Danish up-and-comers, the superstars, a bit more veterancy up against or versus Larry here. So we'll get to see a nice example of old versus new.
And as we hit the 10-minute mark, I just want to say, I'm impressed by Domino so far. They had such a rough week 1, so to be able to compete very well in these 10 minutes, could have gotten that Herald as well very close. Good steal from Akabane being the only reason Nord really had secured that. Domino have been up to the party so far, and they are delivering. Porcupine, I want to say, he's been the backbone of all of this, participating in both of the kills, and as you said, excellent passing on that first part as well.
What I will say though, and this is something you'll notice with Akabane, is his lethal efficiency with his pathing and clearing camps. Already up 5 camps on Porcupine, pretty much a full clear of his jungle. He's now looking into a bot lane dive. Fury's here as well. Larry the one potentially under fire. This has all been spotted out, all on vision. Nord are just going to use this window to put the Herald down, really cement that advantage in the bot lane and give Woolite even more gold.
Let's see if Domino wants to do anything about it. Nice slide and glide out from the side of Fury to ensure his own safety. The Herald won't quite get one more auto through, but the minions will do the hard work. And they will secure that first turret. 4 plates as well. You can see a CS lead that's already developed for Woolite. If we could take a look at the gold as well. I suspect we could see it showcased in that regard, but now Woolite though in trouble, caught up, taken down by Larry, who will secure it with the auto. Akabane gets the consolation prize by securing the scum.
Yeah, really greedy recall from Woolite right there. Just needed to be a bit further back. Really good capitalization by Domino. Put themselves out on the map, find themselves a kill. Kraken Slayer is finished though for Woolite. Obviously all of that gold is going to stand for something. He's going to be fairly happy with this first item spike being hit so early on. And as we get to toggle that gold, only 400 is the advantage over Lari. So even though they've got this full turret and all the plates that go with it, the extra kill gold that Lari just got, offsetting that disadvantage a little bit.
Yeah, very, very important there to keep Domino in the game. They are behind in gold despite being 3 kills to 0. And that is, as you said, due to the lethality of Akabane's clear being able to get up this many amount of camps and stealing that Herald as well. So much gold in these plates that have gone over to Woolite, gone over to Akabane as well, who plays down the Herald. And that's just what has accumulated the 700 gold lead in Nord's pocket. But second Drake has just spawned on the map. We do see Akabane on the bot side. Porcupine, though, he's heading towards the top side, so he doesn't really seem to care.
Yeah, I mean, normally the AD carries go where there's the most farm, and unfortunately now jockeying between 2 lanes where there's already a carry farming it up, Lari is making a very big commitment to try and get this turret and force WoW away. This is a lot of gold being sacrificed. Look at that bot lane. That's 2 waves that are going begging to that turret. And all for a bit of free time for Fjumpbun to hit this topside tier 1. I'm not sure that this is how we would have expected to see Domino go about playing this, but it's certainly costing them a fairly large amount of gold across the board. Drake went down as well.
Ooh,
Stolen
wow.
by WoW.
Feels that away.
It's just small things, Duckling, but they're all so impactful to the larger scale of the game, and now they're getting caught out. Akabane's here.
Yeah, he's spotted out on the sweep, but there comes the season desist. Final chapter, pop a Porcupine. Forced to flash already. Fury, though, unable to catch them with the Emperor's Divided as Porcupine will spin his way out to safety. It is a Domino happy that they keep all members on board.
Caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Fortunately, there were no traps in place. As it is Nord who spend a lot of time going for a topside collapse, it doesn't end up panning out, don't get any kills, and it gives a bit of free time over to Lari. Plate goes down in the mid lane. They're not going to get one down on that bot side, but Shaolin has a bit of free time with that bot lane. Wave and collect a couple of unanswered minions. Overall, Domino with those 3 kills are still dead even in gold, but in terms of map movements, in terms of the objectives, Nord are still looking very good. They've got that first turret, they've secured themselves a Herald off the steal from Akabane, a couple of Dragons have gone their way as well. And the later the game goes, of course, the more stock you put into a Sivir Izzy front to back comp.
What I am happiest about, Rude, watching this game so far already, is the fact that Domino don't feel scared. They are not scared by, the big roster of Nord, this new, brand new organization, 5-star started players who are expected to at the very least make it to the EMEA Masters. Domino are taking the game to them. They're not afraid to be proactive. They're not just sitting back, only reacting to what Nord do. They are gonna make some moves themselves, and I'm really, really happy to see that our teams who have been unable to find a win in the first week still say, this is one of the best teams in the league. We do not care. We are going to play our game, and we're going to bring it to their face.
It certainly speaks a little bit to the potential level of the league as well. If we were anticipating that Nord were going to be out and far and away front runners and have Domino as, clear runner-ups to this matchup, but they've had a really strong start. They're now looking to have a strong mid-game as well. Akabane clears the Herald. Can he get out?
Yeah, Porcupine no flash though. I think he's the one in trouble. Same goes for Snappy, who's channeling the final chapter, and he's reading his own death note as he falls down. Great Emperor's Divide on Shaolin as well. Now Larry could be in trouble. Forced to dash over the wall, and it's a triple kill for Woolite.
And just like that, WoW bot side.
Oh, Fjumpbun outplays it initially, does have the flash. Megan are available. WoW sitting on the flash as well. Where will he go?
Oh no!
The Nar goes wide, the boulder misses. It's a disaster for Fjumpbun, and now Fury's here to send out the soldiers to clean up the mess that WoW finds himself in, and Domino unable to find that one consolation kill.
It should have been a 1 for nothing in that bot side. Nevertheless, WoW gets out. That collapse on the top side. Already we get to see the power of these ricochets. Woolite picks up 2. He gets the 3rd as well with Fury, hand delivering Shaolin on a silver platter. Lowry fortunately has the power to traverse terrain and does get out to safety, but 3 kills onto the Sivir, who already got fed first brick, now getting a triple kill in a mid-game skirmish, accelerated up to a Phantom Dancer so soon. This is a Sivir that you do not want to fight for the foreseeable future, and the issue is, that never goes away. Sivir doesn't get worse later into the game, she gets better.
It's actually a really scary situation. This is something I remember from my childhood watching the EULCS back when games went to 60 minutes regularly in 2016 and 17. It was the 500 CS Sivir win condition. And that win condition is already online. 2 items, 16 minutes, upgraded boots as well, 3 kills, 176 CS. That is more than 10 CS per minute from Moonlight. And that's what there is about this guy. You know what you're getting. You're getting a great, consistent AD carry for the NLC level, and Nord have really hit their head on the nail by picking him up.
Akabane just teeing up Porcupine right there, spotted him with the sweep but didn't want to commit too early. Smite does secure it for the Domino jungler. But it's all across the map that things are going wrong for Domino, not just the blue buff, the blue buff successfully being secured, but they do lose out on mid-tier 1 as well. Woolite now has free control over mid lane as and when he pleases, and then gets himself 20-30 seconds on the map to make plays with the rest of his squad. This wave, he gets to go toward the dragon. Next wave, who knows, may end up being a reset. But they're heading for more than just this Drake. They've set up this vision ahead of time. And now with the Drake spawning, like I say, in about 10 seconds time, they're looking to put themselves on Soul Point 18 minutes into the game. Domino are already here though. They've got Fjumpbun here. They're trying to force out from the river and really control this Drake. Look at the top side. WoW is there. And Nord are looking to take this fight anyway.
Well, we'll be able to take down this turret for sure, but the Drake could go into the hands of Domino. Let's see what Akabane can do though. TP and a team fight might be on the cards, remember. 2 items on the Woolite, and Porcupine already down to half as well. Looks to isolate the fight and split them all up. He's slashing down, but unable to find anyone, as he's now the one who's forced to run. Larry taking low as well. The Ricochet's doing its work, as you say, and the Drake will be secured from Nord. That's all they really cared about, because that's all put.
An incredibly tight fight, actually. Nobody ends up going down, but a lot of cooldowns expended. Akabane goes flash forward, doesn't find anything, and Fury unable to get any further forward also. Domino get out, they do lose the Drake, and they do lose a lot of their health bars, but the fact that they didn't take down WoW here, look at the top side of this fight. Look at this Gore Drinker. He's 100 HP, goes up to 1200 in the press of 1 key. By so much space for his carries to dish out damage. And like I said, the fact that nobody died there, absolutely incredible.
It's one hell of a game, I think that is fair to say, as it is still not in the driver's seat. We will be keeping our eyes on that Drake spawning in now 4 minutes. That will be even more important than the one we just missed. And I'll be keeping my eye on Woolite and his items as well. 2.5 now. Can he get to that Infinity Edge fight sooner rather than later? That will be very much one of the deciding factors to me when the next team fight happens.
And honestly, it's not just can Woolite get to Infinity Edge, it's can Larry get to Rudan's Phantom Dancer, whichever item it's going to end up being, you know, as a retribution, really, because this discrepancy between the AD carries is massive. Normally, you're not used to seeing this level of a discrepancy, but 2,000 and so exemplified in those items is absolutely devastating for Domino. That late game hyper carry of the Zeri pairing with a Yuumi as well is just not hitting the way that you need it to right now. Woolite is that, you know, AD carry we've got in the store that you're asking for, and unfortunately at the minute, Larry's the one at home.
Yeah, Larry's still needing a couple more items to really be able to have any impact on the game. Kaseng also sticking to his AD carry. Woolite feels safe when he's around him. Flash will be up in a couple seconds as well. Wild growth available. So it's very hard to see Domino just coming out of nowhere and assassinating Woolite, because he has all these escape tools. He has Woolite in his back pocket, and as the Baron spawns, it has instantly been started here by Nord.
And they've got no reason not to. Azir shreds through this. The Sivir as well. Consistent DPS with that Phantom Dancer and Kraken, certainly very high, but they can just turn at any moment.
Assist. Shaolin forced to flash over the wall, has the blast gun if he wants to get out. Very split fight as Akabane actually falls to Porcupine. Now it's a flash forced away into a 2-man. And Fury will be spinning around in the Cyclone. It's all on Woolite now as well. Tries to keep 3-man away, and he will succeed at that for quite a while. Fight not fully won, as Woolite still on the hunt to look to turn this around. 2.5 items in his back pocket. Sing is there as well.
He has flash.
it was HP, Jumpung. No more Mega now. Woolite denies a potential Baron, but the fight still in Domino's favor.
Yeah, Woolite happy to step up here. He's got enough HP and a Lulu at his back in conjunction with the flash can get rid or can get out of that scatter the weak. The important cooldown would need to be dodged. Yes, it's a one fight for Domino. It's a bit of extra gold going in their pocket, but no objectives secured. Porcupine happy to take down the Vi, who's just a little too far forward from the rest of the squad. Sivir not quite able to get in through that choke point. And you can see Larry here is actually dealing out a fair enough amount of damage at this point to take down the Aatrox. Takes them a while, but they do manage to get through. And then there's that little dance as the 2 versus 4 at the end. They recognize that one ricochet too many and they could all have fallen. But Woolite is so close right now to finishing that Infinity Edge. Still sat on that BF sword, has had it for a very long time. You have to imagine that soon enough it's going to be picked up in this Infinity Edge. Sivir is going to start shredding everybody.
And just think about that, right, Rube? Because that fight was so close because Woolite was already so strong. When he then gets that Infinity Edge, it's gonna be so hard to deal with him, and they really need to know who to focus and know how to prioritize it. Because if they fail to do that and instantly take him down, it will only take a couple seconds before the game is over. But we are at the 22-minute mark, and that means there's only 50 seconds on the soul now for Nord. This could mean the map being split up all over the place because the Baron is still on the map. So, as we're waiting for that, let's just take a look at the resets. 30 seconds, of course, they want to get out on the map in unison, make sure they have all spent their gold, all have the items ready. As Porcupine trying to push out mid with the help of Snappy. Fury in the vicinity, though, could go for the slide and glide into a potential Emperor's Divide, but won't go for it now. 20 seconds, and priority in this mid-wave could be absolutely crucial. As Fury will try and clear the vision. Akabane in the front line as well. There is a bit of anti-heal, but it's on Fjumpen, so be aware if WoW goes into the backline, he will be able to heal up with the Gold Ringer for quite a while, as mid lane control is fully in Nord's favor.
Now that final fight that really could decide the game right now, we did get the Infinity Edge picked up. Here we get to see the Soul Point Domino trying to deny Soul. Nord, can they get there?
Akabane has denied the steal or stolen once before this game. Can he do it again as Porcupine outside of the pit already trying to dance around with WoW? I don't think he wants to dance with him as they go on to Woolite, but he's instantly out to safety, being able to dish out the damage. 3 items, but it doesn't feel like they need it at all. They're already too strong, and WoW and the rest of Nord will run them down. Larry can kite, but it's a slaughter, as you say, Rude. And this will be the soul, this could be the Baron, or maybe even the game for Nord.
Yeah, I think the game not going to be ended here, but the game is certainly looking very, very gloomy for Domino. 2 death ball compositions, and unfortunately, you appear to have been correct from your pre-game questions, Duckling. Is it going to be about the AD carries? It would appear so. Woolite picked up a triple kill early on, and then just took those items to the races, coming out ahead in these team fights every chance he gets. The space being bought by Akabane, by WoW, and the pocketing with Kasing on this Lulu just makes Woolite an absolute terror. Nobody can get to him, nobody can kill him, and nobody can out DPS him. The Soul gets secured. The Baron now going to be secured as well. And for Nord, the question isn't when they win, but how fast can they get it done?
Yeah, and if you're looking for silver linings for Domino, I don't really know what to say anymore, because Larry is still far away from that 3rd item spike himself. Shaolin just hitting that 2 item spike. Porcupine still hasn't hit that. Fjumpen has, but it's small things compared to the 3.5 items on Woolite. He was safe before with all the movement speed, all the utility he had from Kasing as well. He now has the QSS. This man cannot be caught.
It's one of the luxuries of being ahead, right? This QSS gives him 0 damage, but even though, despite spending 1300 gold on literally a no damage item, he's still ahead of Larry by the full Infinity Edge and an extra sort of Vampiric Scepter to Longsword conversion as well. There's so much gold on the Sivir that it's just impossible to try and battle against, and not to mention the levels as well that have been funneled into Woolite. He's 2 levels up over Larry, who only just dinged level 13. As a base metric, a level is worth about 500 gold worth of stats, so you can take into account the 2 levels of intangible stat difference that you're getting from these level leads in the AD carry role. And the best part for Nord is it's not just the ADC role either. Mid lane has a 2-level advantage. Fury is demolishing Shaolin in that gold department as well. And they don't need particularly a large wave. They can just put shields onto Woolite and he half HPs a turret off of one set of range creeps.
We're at the point now where I don't think a 5-man now would be enough to turn the game. I don't think anything could really turn this back around unless the miracles really fall into their favor, as Domino are struggling to even clear the minions. Fyunpung has built up some stacks, but not really looking for an engagement, trying to keep this mid lane under control as the Baron will still be terrorizing the Rift for 30 more seconds.
They've broken open the base, and top inhib may be all that they get. They have, like you say, they've still got 30 seconds. I think they've got a minute left on this Baron actually before it wears off, and I don't think this is a fight that they want. Woolite is right there, but Fury's bot lane without teleport.
Nice flash from Kasing to keep himself safe. Let's see if they can save WoW. Heals up with the Goldringer, gets a lot of abilities out, but they've left him to die because they are breaking open the base in both bot and mid lane. TP's forced out as well, just to make sure the game doesn't end right here.
Yep, on the hunt pops as well, so they accelerate down mid lane super quickly. They get one in hit bot, one in hit mid, and that is pretty much a done deal. You ask anybody, 3 inhibs is very difficult to come back from. You are waiting for the Exodia of team fights if you are Domino right here. 5-man scatter into 5-man gnaw, 5-man knock up, and the layering of those CCs has to be so perfect. And even if that happens, I think you touched on it earlier, I don't know that they've got the damage. This is a last whisper purchase. Lord Dominic's Regard going in for Larry as this 3rd item. It's not that Infinity Edge. It's not that big ticket item. And we're still waiting to see any form of Grievous Wounds as well. This is an Aatrox with Death Dance, Gore Drinker, and a Lulu at the back pocket as well. There is a lot of healing on this top laner for Nord. Even if he doesn't die, he's sustaining so much. Doesn't have to be dealing the damage because he can leave that to Woolite. He just stays in the front line for so long and nobody on Domino can kill him because of all of the tankiness he's got from these 2 items.
There is some healing reaction, I will say that on Fyunpung, but that is also it.
Oh,
Lots to be items for Larry still, so still far from those item spikes. And just look at the bot lane difference, man. Woolite is so strong. 4.5 items, while Larry is still just fishing for that Lord Dominic's Regard. So he will get that soon enough, I think, but it's not really gonna matter most likely unless they do assassinate Woolite. So it's all eyes on him. If he stays alive, there's no way Domino is winning a single fight. As Porcupine is battling against WoW. Look at the pace of Woolite, and he hasn't even popped the ghost yet. He doesn't need to. He just wants us to watch his team kill the opponents. It's like a Bane goes into the base, but goes Golden as well. In the meantime, Shaolin trying to deal with the minions. It's like a Bane 4. The lightning crash will run out, and that means Domino now going forward without any real damage. As Woolite almost instantly stretched out anyone in his vision. The ricochets clearing the waves, clearing the champions of the Rift. The Emperor's Divide goes wide, but it doesn't matter because Nord have just won the game already. It took one team fight and they're in control.
Yeah, that's what'll happen with 3 inhibitors. Even if you can find a fight, even if the enemy jungler throws themselves into your fountain, the quantity of minions, the amount of time it takes you to clear them out when you're so far behind, it is just too much. And Nord, they found that 1 triple kill for Woolite early on. They set the scores straight from 0-3 to 3-3, and that was all they needed.
And I'm very quickly going to move on to the most important question of this game, of course, because we had a lot of members.
You don't need to ask. We know who this is.
Tell me
Woolite.
Who's the MVP?
This is Woolite.
It's Woolite.
100%.
It had to be. It had to be Woolite. We'll get that sorted for you.
Yes.
And I think this was a really impressive game for Woolite, because when I looked at this roster, I was looking at the top sides to be the, engaging side, the fun to watch side, on the bot lane be the reliable, scaling up, there when you need them. This felt like one of those games, where WoW died a couple times, like a Bane, and Fury didn't have the most success in the early game. The bot lane, consistent, got a lead, focused on that lead, and when the team won that, okay, top side and all that isn't really going 100% perfect. Let's just go to the safe, reliable win condition in Woolite. They did just that, gave him the plate gold, and they snowballed that into a dominant win as soon as it got ahead.
And it wasn't just the small part of the triple kill earlier on. It was a sort of long drawn game plan for the entirety of Nord, because they put that Herald down on the bot side as well. They were forcing Laurie off of waves long before that triple kill came through for Woolite. So there was a lot of pre-built ruling there that enabled Woolite to go for. Yes, they had a great supporting act, but you still have to have the main stage go off if you want to have a great time.
and we will get an interview ready in just a couple seconds. I am informed we will have Shaolin to join us soon enough. I am aware he has just been left. Apparently, I've been baited. Regardless, though, we will have him here soon. I'm excited to talk to him, see how it works out with Porcupine as well, with him coming back in. And I think it's important for these teams who are playing against the really, really strong opponents to focus on some of the positives here. For you, for example, Shaolin, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So just to start us off, obviously, I'm very good. Thank you. Actually, that's really nice of you. It was a rough game, right? I think that's fair to say. But your early game was actually really, really exciting. And I want to ask you, how did it feel to play with Porcupine again? And that mid lane jungle synergy got you guys the first blood.
Yeah, it's been good. I think we've not been playing together for too long. I think we're gonna grow as a mid jungle, and I think we're at a strong spot now, and it's only gonna get better.
That's really good. I mean, obviously we're hoping for that progression for you in the mid jungle duo role. I want to talk to you a little bit about the champ pool that we've seen from you so far, because it's been, at least a couple of games of Syndra. Is this just a pick that you're particularly fond of? I know that it's very strong in the meta right now, but do you feel like this just really sits well with you as a champion, or would you prefer to be taken elsewhere with your picks?
No, I'm just a one trick. It's the only champ I can play. Like, if enemy team bans Syndra, I will go 0-10 every game.
Fair enough. That's good enough. Candor, truth. We love to see that one. I want to talk about Domino then as a whole, because you are the one standing member from the Division 2 roster that got played last split, obviously now coming back into Division 1. How was it like for you as a player having this roster sort of formulated with you sort of at that centerpiece?
Well, I played. I didn't play the last split. I played the split before that.
Bad research, Rude.
And I wasn't really. I wasn't too involved. I just, I was one of the people tryouting. But I think, they're doing a good job making a good roster. I think we have potential for sure.
Yeah, I have just one last question, Shaolin, before we will let you go again. Because for you, how does it feel personally to get this chance, to play in the NLC Division 1, considering you're now taking a step up from the Division 2 you played in last year?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm decently happy with my own performance. I don't feel like I'm getting turbo gapped by Div 1 mid laners. So I think, I'm here to stay, and I want to prove myself.
I'm very happy to hear that. That's really good. Hopefully you do continue to improve. I'm excited to see where you go next. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us here. And have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
And with that, we're just going straight into the winners now, Out with the losers. Thank you, Shaolin, for joining us. And welcome Kasing to the show now from Nord. How do you feel playing such, an instrumental part? You played a really big role this game.
All I did was press, speedies on my fucking. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
On my AD carry. It reminds me of one of those games. Sometimes stuff goes wrong in the early game or whatever. It's fine, guys. We have Lulu. Obviously, I like Lulu. I like Yumi. These chaps I just let my carries do their job, right? If they play bad, it's not my fault. I didn't do anything. But as always, it was quite a fun game for me anyway. Yeah, it's nice.
We got to speak a little bit after the Nord show match that you guys did versus the streamer team as well. I know that you mentioned then that Lulu, one of the champions, maybe the one champion that you could just play for forever. Kasing. I wonder, is this I think you had the option of Lulu or the Yumi. Is there a support pool that you're particularly happy with just taking these enchanters always? I know obviously mentioning the Lulu, but are you just happy playing any sort of support, or do you go towards those enchanters more?
For me, it's just more about what I see is the best chance for us to win. Obviously, in this case, it's there were many enchanters open. Yumi was open, Lulu, Nami was open. It's kind of if they were open, I don't really care. But obviously, if let's say the support pool becomes pinched, like Ashe, Heimerdinger, these kind of champions start getting, pinned, then obviously some certain enchanters will be more OP. So in this case, it's we just knew that if we took away Vi, then the jungler doesn't really play another champions. So it's okay for me, I don't mind. I like
Fair
it.
enough.
It's too easy.
pressing E and W all day and just getting 3 wins. You can't really complain. I want to ask as well, obviously this Nord roster, you know, 5 different players from your different teams previously. How's it been gelling together? I know that there's a big following for the French commune in your squad. Is there a big personality on the team that is, you know, cheering everybody on during games, or is it like a communal hive of fun that you all have?
I mean, to be honest, it's just one guy, you know, called WoW. You know, this guy, he's obviously been flooding everywhere. You know, Twitch chat, Twitter, everything. He's just everywhere. But in terms of like how he is as a person, it's really, really nice to play with him because he sort of brings this kind of like this energetic rookie-like spirit into the team. And I feel he's always, you know, excited to make stuff happen. Maybe sometimes too excited, like, you know, the last fight, technically, where he kind of got caught, right? But he was like, for him, it's like, let's fight, let's go. And, you know, but it's okay, you know. God bless his soul, you know. I like WoW. He's really fun to play with.
That's actually a really, really interesting point you bring up, and I want to kind of delve a little bit deep into this because, Kasing, you've been in the scene for years now. I remember watching you in the LCS back in 2015 when I was like, what, 13 years old or something. So, you know, you're someone who has been here for so many years now. What is it that keeps you going every single year, every single split to continue, you know, working to improve yourself?
I actually feel like it's more just generally the adrenaline you get from like official games. I don't know what it is. It's just something that you can't really describe, right? It's like, you know, winning in general, working with, you know, 4 other players as well as your coaches as well. That kind of dopamine hit that you get after you've won, it feels like, you know, everything you've done worked off, or paid off, sorry. Like you worked your ass off and it paid dividends, you know? So yeah, I mean, just the fact that I just enjoy playing too much. Obviously, I've considered, you know, other options like coaching and stuff because I'll be a good coach. I'm pretty sure about that. But I don't know, I just love playing too much.
That's actually really good. That was a really, really good answer. Thank you so much, Kasing. Congratulations on your win. And I'm very excited to see how far this Nord team can go, and have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
And with that, we are back to you and me, Rudu. But yet again, it is not for long because I'm excited to throw it into a break, because when we come back, there will be a match of the day as Vernier look to get their 2nd win and try and defeat the undefeatable Riddle. See you after the break.